All right, 2016 Sunseeker. If you're renting this, we're just going to do a complete walk around, try to describe everything, all the features, so you have an idea of what to expect. So, first of all, keys. This is your key fob for the coach. It pops out. That's for the ignition. You have lock, unlock. Purple keys are for the outside bins to access the storage bins. Silver key, CH751. That's to dump the RV, to get to the black and gray poles for the dump. And then you have your two black keys, big black keys, your bolt lock. It says big key. Turn it that way to lock, that way to unlock, and the same thing for the smaller keys for the lock for the door handle. So as you walk in, first of all, you have a step and then your stairs up. You have some control buttons here. We'll just walk through those first. First, porch light. That's just going to be your orange light outside. You have an awning LED light for nighttime. These are just switch on and off. An aisle light. The step, you can turn that off when the door opens and closes. It automatically goes in and out. If you turn that step off, it'll just stay open, or sorry, the step will just stay out. That way it doesn't keep on moving in and out when you're camping and set up for the time. Living room lights, they're just above lights you can turn on when you're entering the RV. Awning, it has an awning. You can just push it out, and that's going to take the awning all the way out. And once the awning is fully extended, just make sure you come around the side and you can tighten down both sides of the awning with these dials. That will keep it in place. And when you go to retract it, loosen these up, and then you can pull the awning back in. To go all the way out, you just hold the awning. It'll go all the way out and stop when it's fully extended. Again, in, you just hold it all the way in, and it'll go all the way in and tighten. You can still hold the button, and it's not going to do any harm. Just make sure it's all the way in before you travel. You don't have to do anything with those knobs to tighten it when it's all the way in. Next, when your stabilizer jacks, you push it down for the jacks to go down, and then up to retract when you just help stabilize the RV. Those sort of the buttons right there. As you come in the RV, you have the kitchen. This is an extendable workspace for the countertop. You can just pull that up. There's a little latch down here that releases it down. You have cupboard space, a few leftover things in there, salt and pepper and those things. Underneath, some more cupboard space. Have some mixing bowls, coffee pot, cutting boards, and some bins, cleaning supplies. Underneath that, all the doors should have tabs on them, so just be careful when you open them. You have silverware, your basic utensils to cook with. Again, as we move this way, stove, can flip this up to light the stove. Just shows which burners are which. So in case I'm going to light this front left one, I'm going to turn that to light, and then you can spin this until it turns on. Just refilled the propane, so it might take a minute here for it to light up here. There it goes. So yeah, that's how you light it, and then you turn it off. This folds back down. With the RVs, so you have to keep in mind that anything that's taking a lot of power, for instance, the microwave, the AC, the hot water heater, if it's on electric, you have to be plugged in to shore power, or the generator has to be running for these things to work. Everything else will run off the batteries, but you have to remember when you're camping that if you use the batteries, at some point they need to be recharged. So have solar panels to recharge them, or you need to plug in to be able to recharge those batteries. So if you're camping and you're plugged into 30 amp service, you can use the microwave. The fridge will automatically transfer from propane and electric, but you can use the microwave, you can use the AC, all those things, you're good to go. Otherwise, you're going to need to use the generator. So I'll show you how to use the generator. This is your main panel system here, top right's generator. What you'll do is you hold down the prime button until the red light comes on, and then you just hold it until it starts. That's going to fire up. It'll take a second, but now the microwave and the AC will be able to be used with the generator. That's the generator will go through this panel while those click on. So what you have in the top left here, you have your tanks, and you can monitor those things. So your liquid propane, it's showing that it's full. Your battery is full. Fresh water is empty. That's your fresh water tank on board. Your black water is empty, and your gray water is empty. So as you're camping, you can watch to see what your battery level is, if you need to plug in or run the generator, if you need more fresh water, and your tanks. Down here, you have your water heater. So if you're plugged in to 30 amp service, you can turn your electric water heater on. Otherwise, if you want hot water, it needs to run off the gas. Your water pump, you can turn that on, and that will give you water pressure if you're not hooked to city water. If you're hooked to city water, you don't need the water pump on. Right now I'm not hooked to city water, so I need to turn the water pump on, and for instance, I'll show you over here, the water will run. If you don't have the water pump on, or you're out of water, you won't have any water. So again, you need to either have the water pump on if you're not hooked into city water, or be hooked into city water. Arctic pack, that's if it's going to be cold outside. That keeps your water tank from freezing. And you have to be hooked into power to be able to use that. 2 living room lights. Again, here's your slide in and out. Hold this all the way in. For the slide to come in, it'll automatically stop, and for it to go out, hold that button all the way, and it'll automatically stop. And this is a outdoor light on the driver's side. So that's your main panel. If you needed, fuses are here and breakers, but we haven't, if anything were to pop a fuse. Okay, generator's on, microwave's working, just your standard microwave and an oven, so you can do convection, grill, roast, or just set your timer for the microwave. Your fridge, so usually before rental I'll have this going. First step, you just turn it on, and then it'll automatically switch from propane gas or electric and run to cool your food. If you want it to run just on gas, you can pop that out if you're plugged in, but there's no reason to. It'll just keep it on auto, and it'll automatically switch back from power and propane as you're using the fridge. So moving over here, the next thing is your heating and your cooling. So this is your button here for the mode. You can switch to your cool. Now the generator's on. This would be your AC. So fan is just going to be blowing whatever air up above. This second one, cool, is going to be your AC. You just set it to the temperature you want, and it'll kick on. And the next thing is going to be, so for instance, sorry, before I skip that, cool, you have to have, for the AC, you need to be plugged in or the generator running for that to work. It won't run off the batteries when you're not plugged in. Furnace, that will run just off the battery. You don't have to be plugged in or have the generator running for the furnace to work. You just select it, select the temperature you want it to be, and it'll automatically kick in, and that runs off of propane. So there you go. It's just kicked on now to heat this place up. The next one is going to be your heat pump. If you're plugged in, you can switch to your heat pump, and that will just run off the power, and you won't have to use the propane gas to heat the RV if you're plugged in. And then you can just go to on and off mode, and that turns everything off. So again, fan, just going to be a fan. Cool is your AC. You have to be plugged in to run the generator. Furnace, you do not need to be plugged in to run the generator. You can be to run the furnace itself, and the heat pump you need to be plugged in. So that's your furnace. We're going to sit here and turn the generator off. So to turn it off, you just go to stop, hold that, and it'll shut down automatically. Going into the bathroom, self-explanatory here. I'm going to turn this water pump on real quick. So you have your sink. To use the toilet, if you need to fill it up halfway, you just halfway step on the step, and that will just let the water fill in the bowl. And then when you want to flush, you just step it all the way down. So that's how that toilet works. Shower, it just has hot and cold selector left and right, and the button up to the top here you can get your temperature, and then when you're done with the water, that'll stop it at the shower head and turn the water on from the shower head as well. And then when you're done showering, you just close that. That's your shower. Moving on over here to the main bed, you have USBs, plugins on both sides of the bed. Those work when you're not plugged into power. Anything that's a 110 outlet, you have to be plugged into onshore power, 30 amp service, or have the generator running for your plugins to use. The USBs will work without. So you have USBs there, there's USBs here. Here's your table bed. This converts from a bed, as you see now, into a table. All you have to do is take the table from the bed position, put this stand in here, and then set the table on here, and then you have the U-shaped dinette. And then you can convert it back to a bed. So that's this sleeping arrangements. Up above, you have a bed up here. This can retract if you don't want it. The lights up here are just push button lights on and off. And then moving to the entertainment. So you have a TV up here. There's a dial right here, screw you can loosen, and this will move out. And then you can lock the TV here as well to lock it so it doesn't move. By using it, you just hit the power on. This is your entertainment center here. And you can turn this on, and usually what you do is set on the USB already. You can watch DVDs on it. Also have an aux cord if you want to play music off of your phones, but load the DVD here and it'll connect and play on the TV. Your speaker selections, A, B, and C. B are your outside speakers. A is your speakers in here, and C is your subwoofer. So just be aware if you're out watching a movie and the B speakers are on, you're going to play that outside as well. So some DVDs here you can use it you'd like. The ladder is stowed here. It hooks onto here to get up and down the top to sleep there. Okay, so that's pretty much the inside of the RV. Here, when you go to drive, go through this a little bit. Pretty easy to use. Again, your key is here. It takes diesel fuel only. You enter your key. You don't have to wait to start or anything. You just turn the key and it starts. To move, you push your foot on the brake, push over, and select the gear you would like, and you're good to go. You have your lights here for your headlights, cruise control, blinkers, emergency brake. The emergency brake, make sure it's off before you move. You'll get a warning here on the dash, but it also folds because these seats will swivel. So that's okay if this moves up and down, just for the instance for these seats to swivel to do that. There's a knob back here in the back. You turn that. And they swivel around. And then you can sit here. There's a table that goes right here. So if you need extra seating while you're camping, swivel these back. The functions of the cab here. Other thing to note, you can hook your phone to here. I believe the password is 000 for Bluetooth. The easiest thing to hook up is just hit a USB into your phone and automatically hook up. Is your air, AC, your heat is there. That's pretty much everything in the RV. If you do have any questions, there's a list of what the keys, again, listed or used, RV setup, dumping the RV tank down for information for you there. As we walk outside, we'll just show you a little bit outside. Also, there's a curtain here before we go outside that you can pull up, And when you set up camp, it velcros onto here so no one can look in, as at nighttime it sort of blocks out the light to give you a little bit of privacy. And it just sort of goes like that. If the seats are swiveled around, it can tuck behind the seats so you can still sit there. We walk around here just real quick. Sorry, forgot to mention. Usually the RV is stocked with saran wrap, aluminum foil, Ziploc bags, garbage bags. Also in here, you have some bear spray people have left, some other, I guess, sunscreen, bug spray, just a few of those things. Some storage here. It's usually stocked with some paper towels. You also have a place to put your clothes and your suitcases in there. Just some more of the things in here. Got a toaster and a warming skillet you can use to cook. And then also some pots and pans in these storage compartments there. All right. The door here, just a little bit of information. So to lock the door from the inside, that's the red button. Just switches over. To unlock, you just go like that, both to the left, and then it opens. You can separate the door and the screen by this button here, and this will slide so you can just shut the screen if you want some fresh air. Otherwise, it'll stick together, and again, to loosen that, it just latches right there on that. So coming to the outside of the RV, there's a barbecue set up for the RV that's in the storage bins. To set it up, this hose is usually inside the grill, and it's just a quick connect. So you just push down on it and hook it on the bottom here. And then the same thing, a quick connect in here. There's a blue shutoff valve. To first, it's going to be closed. To get propane, you move it up in the up position. That'll give you propane delivered to the grill. And then you can turn this to max and use one of the fire starters to start the grill underneath. This is nice to have if you want to grill out. That's cool. Another thing here. So like I had mentioned, when you're camping and you're using water and power, somehow you have to renew that power and energy. So if you're not going to be plugged in to power, there's solar panels that you can set out in the sun, and then the cord that comes with it plugs in right here. So this will charge the battery if you're running right off the battery. If you're camping and plugged in, you don't need to worry about that. But if you're not going to be plugged in anywhere, it's good to have the solar panels out during the day to recharge the battery because you're using power in the RV. As you walk around here, you have your black flush tank for when you're dumping. That flushes out the black tank. In this bin here, you have the table that goes in where the seats swivel to use, and there's also a big rug that you can lay out here if you're camping in some dirt. And we'll cruise around the backside here. This is your freshwater fill up. So if you're not hooked to city water, you'll need water in the RV to use the water pump to pump the water out. If this drains and the water pump is on, the water pump will just run. So that's at that control center. Make sure you always have fresh water in, and this is where you fill it. Once you fill it all the way, you can't overfill it. It'll just come out of that breather hole. You know it's full. Walking around here, here's your water connection. So I have a blue water drinking hose. This just screws on, goes to your city connection. This is your power. Pushes in and twists, and that will go to your 30 amp service. And then you also have cable TV hookup. There's a cable in there if the place you're staying has that. Your drain hose is in here. Silver key gets into this container, which will get to your sewer outlet connections. Those are your black and your water or your gray water valves, and then you have your dump right there. In this bin is where you're going to find all your orange blocks. This is where the water hoses are stored. There's also an orange hose where you can run from when you're dumping from supply water over to the black water flush. and I use this hose, not the drinking hose. That way you keep them separate when you're flushing out the black and gray, and that's stowed in there. That's your cupboard there. In here is just other storages. And this one's stocked with chairs. There's also some roasting sticks, hatchet, just some basic camping supplies that you might need. And finishing off here, this is a gas tank. So diesel fuel only. You open the driver's door, open that cupboard, and then the fuel tank is here. So only diesel fuel. If you put unleaded in it, it'll be a bad day. Again, make sure that the gas tank is, when you're done filling, it's closed, shut, and the driver door just closes there. This does take DEF, so most of the time it's full. If you're on a long trip over a couple thousand miles, you might have to fill the DEF. You unlatch the hood underneath the driver's steering wheel, has a safety latch here, and the hood will just come all the way up and stay once it's all the way engaged. And the DF is right here. It says blue, DF only. That's diesel exhaust fluid. A lot of gas stations sell it. You just unscrew it and you'll empty the DEF into there. It's not diesel fuel, it's diesel exhaust fluid. And it's usually in a box. It's clear blue in that instance. If you were to run low, it'll show on the instrument cluster of the truck, the RV, and it'll say low diesel exhaust fluid. You just need to go fill that up, and you should be good to go. To release this, you push up on that, push that in, and close. Other than that, it should be good. That's setting up and the functions of the RV. Hope you have a great time. Enjoy. Ride on.